Laidą Išpakuota pristato Auga. Tvarumas – tai galimybė tenkinti mūsų poreikius šiandien, neatimant šios galimybės iš ateities kartų. Maisto gamybos grandinė yra viena didžiausių taršos ir klimato kaitos sukėlėjų pasaulyje. Mes turime tai pakeisti.
Sveiki, aš Rugilė, o čia Išpakuota, laida apie tvarų gyvenimo būdą ir ekologiją kasdien. Mūsų šiandienos pašnekovas, verslininkas, restoranų savininkas ir ekologiško ūkio Farmer Circle įkūrėjas Niels Peter Pretzmann siekia kovoti su maisto tarša, augindamas ekologiškus produktus savo ūkyje Ukmergės rajone. Šiandien keliaujame pasikalbėti su Nielsu apie ekologiško maisto ir dirvožemio svarbą, tvarių restoranų ateitį ir kodėl danų verslininkas pasirinko investuoti būtent Lietuvoje. So, hello Niels, thank you for having us at your beautiful Farmer Circle. It's an amazing place. I'm really happy to be here, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rugile. It's a big pleasure to have you and Delphi here, and I would say in top it's a big pleasure to have somebody who's really interested in farming, organic ideas.
Thank you. So first of all, I would like to hear more about you. How did you manage to come to Lithuania? What's your story? How did you come here?
Yeah, that's maybe just some random circumstances in life that at the end took me to Lithuania. It all started with a study trip. I was chairman of Danish construction. I have a background in wood industry. Somehow I worked with natural materials all my life, more or less. And we didn't know where to go. One guy got the idea to make a study trip to Lithuania. Nobody knew where it was, big surprise. But we ended up in Vilnius, and I must say I fell in love with Vilnius.
When was it? How many years ago?
It was in '99. And slowly I spent more and more time in Lithuania, and I got married in Lithuania, and now I've been living here since 10 years, in fact, this summer. Yeah.
And when did you start working in the food industry? Did you always think that you will end up in the food industry?
Yeah, it reaches back to my childhood. I'm born on a very, very small farm. So small you hardly could call it a farm. My mom and dad were farmers. And at that time, in fact, they were organic farmers. They just didn't know about it. The word organic was not invented. But it was a farm, a circular farm, I would maybe baptize it. We had everything from kitchen gardens to fields with oats, wheat, beetroots. We had cows, we had pigs, we had chickens.
It was very holistic.
It was quite holistic. That somehow was embedded very deeply in me, and the way of working with farming, you learn it's not a 5 days a week job, it's in fact a 7 days a week job. It takes a lot of responsibility to work with farming. You can't leave the cow 2 days. Yes. Hello guy, I'm going on weekend, feed yourself. Yes. It don't exist.
There's no vacations.
So that was, the concept of vocation came to me very late, because I didn't learn it on the farm, my dad's farm, and later on I was also taking care about bigger farms, like farm manager. I was only 17 at that time. But how I got back to food was in fact indirectly, and at that time I didn't think so much about it would be my future. It was the possibility to establish a restaurant in a property we bought 7 years ago. But what I learned in the restaurant was nobody really cared about where the food is coming from.
Yes. As long as it comes.
As long as it came, as long as it came from somewhere in Germany, as long as it was peeled, and cheap and easy to work with, everything was somehow okay. I remember I asked my chef, what do you think about organic? He said, I don't know, I don't care that much about it, because it's difficult, and I don't see what it matters. And that put a little seed in my head that there must be a reason why he thinks it's really difficult. And right enough, it was very much about that the supply chain was weak, difficult to buy from small farms. You know, they produced in very small amounts, and quite often they had to be paid black, which is a no-go for me. In reality, it wasn't really possible, so I started to think about why don't you create your own farm? And if you
Since
anyway...
you have the experience.
Yeah, I had the experience from my childhood and young days. And that's how it started. Then it took another jump when we started to develop Senatorių Pasažas, which is a food hall, name it, street food.
And the food comes from the farmer circle?
And as much as possible is in fact produced on the farm. We bought the farm 1 year after we started developing Senatorių Pasažas. So in fact I'm trying to grow 2 kids at the same time.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, but it's very interesting.
Yes, could you tell me more about the farmer circle? What do you grow here? How many people work here? What's the project is about?
Yeah, the farmer circle is around 700 hectares altogether, so it of course gives a lot of possibility to produce different categories of food. We somehow divide it into 4. We have our kitchen gardens. It's all about veggies and plant-related products. We have the bigger fields. It's about grains, it's oats, it's wheat, it's buckwheat, even hemp we are growing this year. Oh, okay. Not for smoking,
yes,
but
I know.
but for medical.
It's really good, it's very sustainable.
Yeah, and then we have our kitchen department, which is in fact taking our products a step further, can them. A butcher department that's connected, that in fact makes sausages, charcuterie, whatsoever. It's a sort of circular story.
Yes, it's beautiful. And I've read about you on your social media, and it's clear that you prioritize healthy and organic food and like your business endeavors here in Lithuania. Why is it really important to you to have organic food?
When I start to study what we could call the broken food chain,
yes.
It's more or less impossible not to find something that's wrong in the system. It doesn't really matter where you are turning. There's always something wrong. And,
it's a very complex issue.
It's very complex, yeah, but to me it falls somehow in 4 categories. Pesticides is a huge problem. Social injustice in the food industry is a huge problem. Let's say industrialization of food is a huge problem. We treat food like it's components for a TV or a radio. It got too technical. We forgot that in fact we are working with biology. I think that's somehow the main issues in the food industry. And then you can start to dig into these different categories of problems. Yes. To me, chemicals are probably far the biggest problem. It seems like we gladly eat chemicals that were developed for First World War, Second World War. In fact, by a guy called Fritz Haben, a German guy, who invented ammonia and then later on turned ammonia into mustard gas that actually killed, I think, 100,000 soldiers on the battlefield in First World War. That was the start of pesticides.
And now they put the same things in the pesticides?
Exactly the same components. They just rebranded the shit to agricultural purpose. I don't think it happened because the farmers somehow understood what they were doing. There was a big political pressure to produce more food for Europe because people were starving at that time. And somehow it became very handsome to push the production with the help of pesticides that again falls in a few categories. You have pesticides that kills insects. You have pesticides that kills plants, and then you have pesticides that kills fungi. And if you think about it, exactly those three components in agriculture are the most important. And we are killing it like bloody serial killers without thinking. And farmers did that not because they were evil people. My dad went in the same direction, I went in the same direction, but nobody was informing us about what we were doing. We just noticed, okay, it goes well, we grow more and more. It was called the Green Revolution.
For
Green
some time.
Revolution,
Yes.
yeah, imagine.
And for some time it grew a lot, and now these farmers that used to use a lot of pesticides are now suffering from their soil. Not really, nothing really grows there anymore because the soil is dying. So.
Yeah, and that's the biggest issue, because the secret to better farming, in fact also to a better planet, if we think about carbon, and also to more healthy food, is exactly in the soil. It's exactly in the soil, because everything starts with the microlife we have in the soil. Bacteria, fungi, nematodes, those kind of creatures in fact extract nutrients from the soil. A sandcorn have everything a plant needs to grow from, except sun and carbon from the atmosphere. If you add those things together with the help of microorganisms, you have a very solid platform for growing healthy food.
It also absorbs CO2 from the atmosphere, so it's reducing climate change.
Yeah, that's a part of it, because it is a kinder egg. If you do it right, you extract a lot of carbon from the atmosphere and store it in especially fungi is very good to store carbon. You extract a lot of carbon from the atmosphere. In fact, you improve the environment. This helped the plants to grow better, and more healthy plants produce healthier food. It is a kinder egg, but somehow we don't really fully realize it yet. The secret is in the soil.
Yes.
And that's where we should put our attention at the end of the day.
But now, as I understand, the system, like bureaucratic system, is very uncomfortable for organic farmers. It's still very difficult to have an organic farm and to make money out of it in Lithuania, right?
In reality, it's probably 10 times more difficult to be organic. I like to call it bio-organic farming, because it's a lot of about biological processes, and then combine it with organic, where you don't use pesticides and so on. Then you have a better word for it than organic. But in fact, we should make it easier for those who produce the kinder egg, more healthy food, sustainable food, helping to retract carbon. But that's not how it works. It's a jungle of bureaucracy. I can't even count how many certificates we have at the farm, because it starts with having egg layers. You need certification. Poultry, you need certification. Angus, you need certification. Veggie, you need certification. The kitchen need a certification. If you want to sell to shops, you need a wholesaler certification. If you have a shop, you need to certify it, because if you don't pack it in plastic, it's again a need of a certificate, an endless row of certificates. And it's one of the reasons why it's also becoming more expensive for producing food, which shouldn't be in the interest of, in the bigger picture. What's happening, as I see it, is that in many ways you treat organic products exactly like you would treat conventional products. It means that it has to come in certain size. Cabbage have to be 700 grams exactly. It has to look perfect in the shape, what we imagine like perfect. You don't accept the slightest bite from an insect and so on. And without thinking, I don't think they're bad people, first of all. Nobody are bad people, but you get somehow locked in a system that thinks very conform. And if you think the same way about organic food as conventional food, you get locked in it.
Could you tell me more about the soil to table principle? You talk about it at Farmer Circle social media a lot. What is it? What is soil to table and why is it important?
It's all about how we improve and increase the amount of microlife in the soil. And we are talking bacteria, we are talking fungi and bigger organisms. But first of all, bacteria and fungi are interesting because they are the ones who exchange sand corns into proper food for plants. And when you're doing this, you also improve the quality of the soil. You get more humus, you get more rich soil. At the end, you will have more rainworms. And what we will see on the top, on the surface, is healthier grass. It means that cows that are grazing on the fields, they will become more healthier. They will produce more healthy meat. I'm not against meat. I just think we should eat a bit less of it and better. And the same happens with our rye, our buckwheat. The results of what we are growing is very, very much connected to how alive the soil is. And the very same bacteria as you find in the soil, you should find in your own stomach. Your stomach should be a mirror of the soil.
Okay, that's interesting.
You know, it's proven that farm kids, true farm kids, grown up on, let's say, bio-organic farms, they are more healthy than kids growing up in town.
They're like in sync with the soil?
Yeah, they're in sync with the soil, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's also very interesting in the aspect that when you have this healthy kind of soil, the taste of your products become completely different. Nature is not stupid because when nature is growing a carrot, it knows that carrot need to be eaten by a rabbit. And what kind of carrot would a rabbit choose? It would choose a carrot that somehow satisfy the rabbit's
taste buds.
Preferred flavors. And it's in fact the same with humans. You can in many ways check if something is healthy, if it pleases you with your taste buds.
Oh, okay.
It's not a 100% rule.
Yes, because McDonald's tastes as well.
But nature is
yes.
arranged in a way that healthy things taste better to humans.
I really want to talk with you about the Michelin Green Star that was just recently introduced. So you probably heard of it, that restaurants are now awarded by these Green Stars because of being sustainable. Not only the food is delicious, but it's also very sustainable. What do you think of it? Do you think it's like the future of restaurants having very sustainable food and very sustainable menus?
Yeah, in fact I do. I think COVID in some aspect also changed the landscape of the restaurant scene. I think there will be less focus on stars. I've been seeing, for example, world's 50 best restaurants is taking a more important part of the stage. And the difference between a Michelin star and 50 best is there's much more focus on the real story. Mm-hmm. What does that restaurant want to tell me like a consumer? Yes. And that's very much also our principle. We want to tell our consumer a story about more sustainable farming, healthier products, the short supply chain, the close connection between the farm. Because, you know, at the end of the day, the farm is most, if I should say, who is most important, is our, maybe it's not even possible to say it like that, because it's a sort of tight connection. But the farm have the potential to feed many more people than our food hall. Mm-hmm. And that's why I put a lot of trust in the farm, that one day we are actually delivering from our soil to consumer table at home. Yes. And not only to restaurants, because that's a small part of food consumption. If you want to do an impact, you also have to think it in scale.
And for my last question, we talked about it before the interview, about greenwashing in this industry, that it's very strong. What's your opinion about it? Do you notice all of it, like a lot of it, while working in the organic food industry?
Yeah, you know, I think first of all, it's a shame that some companies misuse a beautiful concept. I think we all know we have to bring the planet back in balance, and I really hate when companies are pretending to be green. I think there was this fantastic sample of, let's not mention the name, but there's a pesticide company operating in Lithuania. My wife found them on Facebook by a small notice showing flowers, for especially good for bees. And since my wife had bees, he pushed the link and thought she could buy those seeds. But no, it was not like that. It showed up that to get these seeds, you in fact have to buy chemicals, pesticides. And that made me a bit interested in how that company operates, because it's somehow a joke. You can buy seeds for flowers, for bees, yes, but those bees are already gone because they are killed.
By these chemicals that you're actually selling.
Yeah. And then I digged into it, and their homepage, I never seen anything so green in my life, you know. There was no end of the wonders they were doing to the planet. And it took quite a long time to actually figure out what kind of pesticides they were making. I ended up in the US version of the homepage. That's one of the worst examples of greenwashing I've seen.
Yes,
of course, it's a very bad example, but I think we should appreciate companies who are thinking a little bit more about if they are in greenwashing or they actually do some real actions.
Yes, yes.
Appreciate the real actions, not the balcony speech.
Yeah, they're just trying to survive at this point because they're knowing that the industry is changing and the Green Deal is, you know, going all around the world. People are trying to change their business models, and, you know, people are trying to eat more organic food, so these companies are doing the best they can, but hopefully people will understand sooner or later what greenwashing is and how it affects us and our food industry, and, you know, we will be more, you know.
At least there's attention on this point from the press now, I think, and that's good. You have to address those people who, like in H.C. Andersen's fairy tale, you know that fairy tale?
Yes.
The king is walking in the street and the small boy is saying, but he's naked.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I think the press have a role in pointing on those who are naked.
Yes, that's true. Thank you for the interview. It was really interesting, and I wish you all the best with your business endeavors and, you know, trying to make people eat more organic food. It's a beautiful thing that you do. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's in fact my dream, to be able to offer better food for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's hope it will come true. Thank you.
It will.
Šiandien tiek. Ačiū, kad žiūrėjote. Likite su Delfi televizija.
Laidą Išpakuota pristato Auga. Tvarumas – tai galimybė tenkinti mūsų poreikius šiandien, neatimant šios galimybės iš ateities kartų. Maisto gamybos grandinė yra viena didžiausių taršos ir klimato kaitos sukėlėjų pasaulyje. Mes turime tai pakeisti.